What if there were rules so timeless that they could change the way you live today? These laws, known as the Ten Commandments, have influenced not only religious belief but also shaped our daily behavior, values, and decisions for thousands of years. In this video, we're going to break down these commandments, uncovering their meaning and exploring how they still matter in today's fast-paced world. Stick with us as we dive into the heart of what these laws truly teach about our relationship with God and each other. Welcome to Story of Grace, where we explore wisdom, truth, and timeless teachings, God's laws and their significance. The Ten Commandments are more than just rules. They're God's gift to His people, designed to guide, protect, and direct them. When these commandments were delivered to Moses on Mount Sinai, they marked the beginning of a special relationship between God and the Israelites. This covenant was not just about laws, it was about forming a bond, a partnership. God, in His love, gave these commandments to help His people thrive in every aspect of life. These laws speak of worship, morality, and respect for others, things that remain just as relevant in today's society. The first commandment: worship only God. In a world where idols are everywhere, from money to fame, what does it mean to truly worship only God? The first commandment, "You shall have no other gods before me," challenges us to reevaluate where we place our trust, loyalty, and reverence. Worshipping only one God is not just about religious observance. It's about our total devotion, ensuring nothing else takes priority over our relationship with the Creator. Our modern world offers countless distractions, but this commandment calls us to stand firm in our commitment to God and to prioritize Him above all else. The second commandment: no idols. What happens when we begin to worship things that aren't God? The second commandment warns us against making idols or images for worship. In a world filled with materialism, it's easy to idolize things, whether it's our jobs, possessions, or even ourselves. But this commandment urges us to keep our worship pure, focusing on the unseen, living God, rather than earthly things. It's a challenge to live a life free of idolatry, making sure that we don't allow material possessions or false ideals to steal our hearts away from the true source of meaning and purpose. The third commandment: honoring God's name. Why does how we speak matter so much to God? The third commandment, "You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain," emphasizes the power and sacredness of God's name. It's not just about avoiding using God's name in anger or as a curse. It's about reverence, respect, and treating His name with the honor it deserves. Our words carry weight, and this commandment calls us to speak about God with reverence in every part of our lives. It's a reminder to hold His name in the highest regard, ensuring that every time we speak of God, we do so with honor and respect. The fourth commandment: remember the Sabbath. What if resting isn't a luxury, but a command? The fourth commandment tells us to remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy, which means that rest is a divine principle, not just a human need. We often live in a world that glorifies busyness, but God made a day of rest a fundamental part of our lives. Rest isn't about laziness, it's about restoration, physically, mentally, and spiritually. This commandment isn't just about taking a break, it's about setting aside time to refresh, reconnect with God, and refocus on what truly matters. Taking a Sabbath reminds us that we don't have to do everything ourselves. It's an act of trust and obedience to God, acknowledging that He is the ultimate source of our strength. The fifth commandment: honor your parents. Why should we honor our parents? The fifth commandment, honor your father and mother, is all about respecting the authority and wisdom of our parents and elders. But it goes deeper than just obeying our parents. It's about valuing their experiences and sacrifices. This commandment teaches us about the importance of family relationships and respecting those who have come before us. Whether we agree with them or not, this commandment calls us to honor our parents, because doing so honors God's order for families and society. The sixth commandment: do not murder. What makes human life so sacred? The sixth commandment, you shall not murder, reminds us that life is precious. Every person is made in God's image, and to take a life is to violate God's creation. Murder is the ultimate form of disrespect to God's handiwork, but this commandment goes beyond physical killing. It challenges us to eliminate hatred, bitterness, and violence from our hearts. Respect for life isn't just about avoiding murder. It's about valuing every individual, showing love and compassion, and seeking peace instead of conflict. The seventh commandment: do not commit adultery. Why is faithfulness so important? The seventh commandment, you shall not commit adultery, speaks directly to the sanctity of marriage. In a world where relationships are often seen as disposable, this commandment reminds us that marriage is sacred. It's a covenant before God, and breaking that covenant is a betrayal not just to our spouse, but to God. This commandment calls for fidelity and purity in our relationships, guarding our hearts against temptation and honoring the vows we've made. It's about commitment, trust, and living in a way that reflects God's faithfulness to His people. The eighth commandment: do not steal. Why does honesty matter so much to God? The eighth commandment, you shall not steal, is a clear directive that we must respect the property and rights of others. Stealing isn't just about taking someone's possessions, it's also about honoring the hard work and efforts of others. This commandment teaches us to be honest in all our dealings, whether it's with money, time, or relationships. It challenges us to live with integrity, valuing others' possessions and lives as we value our own. The ninth commandment: do not bear false witness. What harm can a lie really cause? The ninth commandment, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, warns us about the power of words. Lying, gossip, and spreading false rumors can destroy lives, relationships, and communities. This commandment challenges us to be truthful in everything we say, guarding against deceit, slander, and unkind speech. Our words can either build up or tear down, and this commandment calls us to choose honesty, integrity, and love in all our conversations. The 10th commandment, do not covet. What drives our desires? The 10th commandment, you shall not covet, speaks to the heart of greed and discontent. Coveting is more than just wanting what others have. It's about envy, jealousy, and the desire to take something that isn't ours. This commandment encourages us to cultivate contentment and gratitude, focusing on what we already have rather than longing for what belongs to others. It's about learning to trust God's provision and being satisfied with His blessings. Why the 10 Commandments matter today. In a world filled with confusion and chaos, the 10 Commandments remain a timeless source of wisdom and guidance. These laws not only provide a moral foundation, but also point to a life that is centered on God's love and justice. In today's society, where moral standards seem to change constantly, the Ten Commandments offer clarity, stability, and direction. They teach us how to live with integrity, how to love others, and how to honor God in all aspects of our lives. They are as relevant now as they were thousands of years ago, offering wisdom that transcends time. What the Ten Commandments teach us about God through the Ten Commandments, we see God's heart for His people. These laws are not arbitrary. They reflect His character, His holiness, justice, mercy, and love. God desires His people to live in peace, unity, and respect for one another, and these commandments are a framework for achieving that. They show that God values our relationships with Him and with each other, and He wants us to live lives of purpose, meaning, and moral integrity. The Ten Commandments reveal the nature of God's love and His desire for us to reflect that love in our actions. The call to follow the commandments. Following the Ten Commandments is not just about keeping rules. It's about living in accordance with God's will and bringing His kingdom to earth. These commandments call us to live differently from the world, to walk in love, honesty, and humility. They challenge us to make God the center of our lives and to treat others with respect, kindness, and fairness. By following these commandments, we honor God and reflect His love to the world. The Ten Commandments are more than just ancient laws. They are a timeless guide for living a life of purpose and integrity. Through them, we find clarity on how to love God and love others. Whether you follow a specific faith or not, the wisdom of these commandments can shape your life and relationships. If this video has inspired you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join Story of Grace for more insightful content. Let's continue exploring the wisdom of the past and applying it to our lives today.